to also include hope, soul, and courage, because we do live in interesting times. So when it comes to the economy, I've been looking at history of money and economies, and also today I'll go further into the standardization of time and measurement. But we have economies looking back at least several thousand years in Mesopotamia, we've seen. When I first started studying how long has human beings or Homo sapiens been wandering this earth, they talked about 80,000 years. In our time, it's several hundred thousand years. So unless you're a creationist, then you believe the direct translation or writings of the Bible, which then the world is 7,000 years old, and God's ways are ambiguous or hard to understand or whatever. There's of course, again, context depending on how you see and from where you see something, what you see might change then. And the offering that I'll give you at the end of this is from AI, now from CSR or sustainability, ESG ready to AI ready, and a lot in between, which also goes with what I've been working on the last 15 years, which is quality, health, safety, and environment in different industries and in Norway and also worldwide. So let's get back to the main focus of today, which is standardization of time. The early timekeeping we can look at is sundials. One noticed that at midday the sun is at its highest. During a night, when the clouds weren't there, you could use celestial bodies, and they started also with water clocks and sundials and such. But these were local developed initiatives, but we can find traces of these from way back. Then when mechanization started coming with the Renaissance, I guess, one started creating mechanical clocks of different variations. And when the towns started to be defined, one started with the town hall clock, and that was often what was defining of the time for a region or for a town. And this created quite a lot of challenges when people wanted to take the railroad with different, where each railway defined the time from the town clock that it had its headquarters. So here's an example on the right of such a timetable from the US, showing the different differences of what time was in the different cities. So you can imagine the fascinating job of being a timetable adjuster and updater in those times, and maybe verifier. An example of how innovation can make some jobs obsolete and maybe also create some new ones. And another innovation from this time was from the sea. John Harrison's marine chronometer, which helped navigators define longitude and through that defining where they were on their voyage. Later, we got the Greenwich Middle Time, which also, that was in the time when Great Britain ruled Britannia, was the superpower of the world. And it was defined in the 1884 Meridian Conference. And in our century, we got the atomic clock, and the Coordinated Universal Time, UTC, in 72, combining the atomic time and the accuracy that created. We also got the quartz clock that made these fancy mechanical clocks that Swiss were so renowned of obsolete, because the quartz used the atomic. But as we have seen since, and also these technologies are extremely relevant when it comes to communication, even though we still have some issues when setting up meetings over time zones. Not all these apps function perfectly still, but the GPS, of course, is very dependent on a defined time. So I would say that the standardization of time is crucial for so much of our technology and underlying, and we could have a whole seminar over several days just going into this topic. But let's go to another relevant topic. And as you might see, I've been getting used to using the AI to help me create images. And what I do is I have a discussion with it concerning these issues that I, of course, reflect on and pair with the knowledge I already have on these subjects, and double refer, because I believe in our time of age, the ability to think critically. That means not just taking any information for granted, but either you believe in it or it is against what you believe. You should investigate further. And as we have all heard of, we've heard of a foot and such measurements, and that was the ancient way of measuring, or a favn, which is the Norwegian for the measurement between the hands. And this was the ancient way of measuring. And we do guess still see some resemblance of that in the what's called the imperial system, that still is used in some areas of the world. With the Roman Empire, these kind of measurements like foot became more standardized, and with the Renaissance and Industrial Revolution, they started discussing this further, and the metric system was developed in France. There you can still go at the exhibition and see the first meter, and also the first kilo that is stored very carefully in defined temperature and so on. But even though it is meticulously stored, our measuring methodology has become so advanced that we now see that even these standard meters and the standard kilo is influenced. So now it's more mathematically defined. But in 1875, the meter was decided on at the International Bureau of Weights and Measures, and it further was discussed at different conferences. So there are more or less with changing, or I don't know if it's yearly or more seldom, they have these conferences for the people that are very interested in measurement. And in the 1960, they finally decided on an international system of units, and in 1975, the year I was born, they also decided on illumination, defining measuring for that. But it was decided around 50 years ago. At the same time, we got the internet, and many other things happened. It was decided that the metric system should be the international measuring system. But as people from the UK or the US know, they still prefer the imperial system. And that has created some issues, especially in aviation and space um, industry, where there has been collaboration between the Europe and the US. The Mars Climate Orbiter is one of those missteps that cost quite a lot of money because of not being clear on which measuring systems one were using. So again, it's a large topic that we could use a lot of time on. So if you're interested, I'd love to go further into this, but I'll keep on with the presentation a little further. This is from when I first, a picture I created when I first started with from sustainability to AI ready and a lot in between. And this call that I have on every Tuesday is about the HSE stories that I bring to the table and also connecting them to the ExO attributes from the open ExO community. I love presenting information in fascinating ways, but also here, this is from Information is Beautiful, trying to show the differences of money or value defined by money in dollars. But of course, this has changed since. The crypto we know has had quite a big jump since it was $1.8 trillion earlier this year. So this is naturally constantly developing. To further my MTP, I created this economic insight AI in the ChatGPT app, and I'll be happy to share that with you if you want to test it. It's still on a beta phase. And these kind of assessments is something that I've been working on in Batna since I established that company in 2012, but also as a designer and business developer in my first company, HSC Smith, that I started in 2001. But at least the AI Ready is a tool that I'm doing in collaboration or is powered by the open ExO community. And the AI Readiness tool is to help you get over the hype cycle that Gartner likes to present it. And this is also a concept I've been working on, radio waves, communication, and innovation waves, where I try to show that innovation is something that builds on other innovation. It seldom comes out of nothing. So one of the definitions of innovation I like is assembling knowledge you have into a new application or new use. And also being a sustainability burnout, you might say. We are living in a time where politicians talk about the sustainability and climate is the most important things. But by the way, we just have to win a few wars first, which is the worst thing any country or person can do when it comes to sustainability. So we're hoping that what the fantastic development that we've seen with the industrial revolutions or innovation waves this far, we can continue the development, but without the massive use of fossil fuels as coal, oil, and gas, and such. But who knows? Will it be a hype cycle, or how will it look? Looking into the marble of future, it has never been easy. And I have a book beside me here, Scenarios 2000, and it's fascinating to read what they were imagining the millennium will look like in the 80s. When you look back at things like that, you see that it's always looked from the technology you have now. So here is the original radio waves and innovation waves, but I've been working with this when the ChatGPT 4.0 was released, and got some iterations of this, and I think this is the fourth iteration that I was happy with. But I had to remove all the text because even though they are good at text when you only work with text, but in images that the text is rubbish. So I had to remove it here and also add the radio waves and exponential innovation waves in photo editing tool. And another AI I'll be happy to get some feedback on is the Strategic and Innovative Insights Assistance, that has this approach that I strive towards being creative, practical, and philosophical in my approach to knowledge and also implementation of actions and processes and such. So in the ExO, and also very inspired by a person who has been quite good at predicting the future, Ray Kurzweil, we refer to that this decade is going to be amazing, and referring to Gutenberg moments, which again refers to when Gutenberg invented the printing press, and we could start sharing knowledge on paper way more easily than before, when the only way of sharing was that somebody sat and wrote by hand. But there are some fascinating books from before the printing press, as there has been created so many fascinating books with the printing press. That also has developed with the printing and photocopier, and now we are doing this more and more exponential. And also here it refers to we are about to experience 20,000 years of technological process in just 100 years. That would be like 20,000 years is an estimate of how long ago we started with the agricultural revolution and went from being mostly hunter-gatherers to organizing in townships and larger groups through agriculture. So here we have wearable tech, CRISPR, energy storage, medicine, anti-aging, solar technology, robotic, drones, air taxis, you name it. It's 25 and counting. Another way of presenting this is these exponential technologies and saying the world is changing faster than anyone has predicted. But being humans, we are so it's so fascinating how we so easily take these massive innovations for granted so easily and expect more. And I think that is some of the reason why we see the hype cycle. And you can also look back like at the Y2K problem, the dot-com bubble, and so forth. When looking back, you can kind of see how history is repeating itself. This is an initiative I've been working on for a time. You're welcome to come visit me here at Angel Bay. It's posted on Airbnb, and I started developing a test area for the Bale Park, balance activity and learning about energy there. But unfortunately, the last years I haven't had much time to work on that. But hey, it's quite easy setting up a zip line, weight principles, learning about materials, energy, and all these things. And also then focusing on how one actually can go from more fossil fueled based economy to a more green economy using more renewable energies, and also connecting this to technology here represented by the Arduino, which is a tech and coding set and a book. It's one of several methodologies that you can be using there. Another image that I've been working on combining AI-generated images and also editing them in Photoshop. But this image represents the MTP and the scale ideas, ExO attributes. But and it's a comment on general artificial intelligence. I see it's often then looked at the old way we understood the psychology as when we started with the cognitive revolution that came with the IT and digital age. But now we know that our brain is so connected to the rest of the body, the skin, the intestines, and such that, it's way more advanced than just the left and the right hemisphere of the brain. But hey, that's the thing with all schematics. You have to simplify to make it understandable. But these are the attributes: interfaces, dashboards, experimentation, autonomy, social, the ideas, and then the scale, focusing outwards, staff on the mind, community and crowd, algorithms, leverage assets, and engagement. Not to forget the MTP, the massive transformative purpose. As mentioned, we also have the ExO heroes, where you can focus on being a person who promotes one of the attributes. And the ExO is also connected to the Genius Group and the Genius University that has its innovation types, which is a 4-type assessment. It's like a personal trait assessment that I've also been interested in since I studied psychology in my early days at the university. So this is me. And another ExO, a project that we've been working on that goes regarding education, where a lot of people who met in the ExO work together. We call it Noverse, and it's a platform on democratizing the access to education and knowledge. So that's a project we've been working on since last autumn. So I'm a certified ExO consultant. And I have extensive experience in quality, health, safety, and sustainability, both as a leader, a consultant, and also as a lead auditor, certifying companies according to international standards on quality, like 9001, environment, 14001, health and safety, and information security, and so on and so on. And the presentation of the Abacus Aurelius I used in the quote was for my master thesis. And I'm a total technology enthusiast, and I'm passionate about storytelling, music, and as you can see here, sailing. Therefore, Captain Smith. So if you want to hear more, my process, customer journey, customer voyage is the welcome call, which you can book at the Calendly. Then we do a wake session talking about exponential technologies. And the assessment, the sustainability ready, QHSE ready, or AI ready, whatever suits your needs the best, we can start with. Set up action plans or improvement lists, or we can go even further and set up services, projects, and ExO methodologies like swarms and sprints together with the many talented and knowledgeable people within that community. And all put in the Deming's improvement circle. Botna is Old Norse for improve. That is why it is, that's the reason I called my company Botna. And it has the plan, do, check, act, but also in our time, calm down, slow down, take a minute to restitute and contemplate. So any questions before time runs out? We have 5 minutes, or comments.
Well, Hans, I just love the fact that every time I see you do this presentation, it just keeps improving. and I love the way that you bring all to light how technology has changed along the way. We're facing times right now that there's an amazing amount of technology coming to fruition, and people are afraid of it. But if you go
Yeah.
back at it, and just like you say, I mean, you had the maps and different ways of navigating, and now it's as simple as 99% of the people, they use a cell
Yep.
phone to figure out where they're going. So
When I was growing up, either I wanted to go in the woods or drive my car, I had to have paper maps.
yep,
There was no Google Maps. And it's a nice backup to have because the GPS is controlled by the US. One flick of a switch, and the accuracy of that system goes from quite accurate to not accurate at all.
exactly, exactly. But
So,
it's just, it's
or a very heavy solar storm, we might also have some issues
yep,
with a lot of technology. But yeah, that this resistance towards change, I think they experienced this with the agricultural revolution and every innovation revolution since. We know from the Luddites, from the Industrial Revolution, and so forth. But the experience so far is that we've created more jobs, more ways of doing things, more effective ways, and creating better lives for more and more people. And that statistic, I think, is still valid, even though it has been not going up so quickly as it did until a decade or two back. Mm.
I love what Sasha put in there, that in Venice, Google Maps wanted them to pass on water from one island to another without alter. I guess in there
Yes,
you have to
it was
designate
hilarious.
you have to designate human or fish or something on those GPS.
Yeah, but it was really a really strange experience, when you're in a city that you don't really know well. So you use Google Maps, of course. And strangely, it didn't find any way through normal roads and bridges. So it was like, hey, you just go straight here. Okay, let's go straight. Let's see. It's like water. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Then go there. It's again water, because Venice is on the water.
Yeah,
So it was really strange and hilarious because we were running as two crazy people just trying to find another bridge to pass to another street.
exactly.
Wow.
That's pretty funny. I
Yeah.
guess
Yeah,
I
I
guess
guess.
they figured everybody had a boat.
Right. So paper maps rules, definitely.
This is true. You can't hardly find them anymore. That's the bad thing about it. There a lot of places, here in the
Uh,
States
hmm.
that you used to could buy them. You go in, they look at you like, "What's a paper map? What are you talking about?"
Mm. Fortunately, in the tourist information, like here, they have, and I use that. I have a few of those because it's so much easier to, when you want to sit around the table and discuss something, to have something on paper. Of course, the digital maps, they have their use areas, but sometimes the paper map still rules. So any technology for its use, I would say.
Exactly.